Hey, good evening. It's Tuesday night. And what do we do on Tuesday night? Urban Sentinel Live. Hope everyone's doing well this evening. Welcome to a new edition of Urban Sentinel Live. I'm your host, Reggie Kearney. My voice might sound a little weak tonight. I tell you, between weather changing and colds and things of that nature, hey, it is what it is. Uh, but I can't miss my show. I got to bring some good stuff to you guys. So tonight we got a dynamic show, and we have with us tonight is one of our guests. We have two guests tonight. Uh, Donna Gray Banks, phenomenal lady in the book world, book industry. She's got some good things going on. She's going to talk about an upcoming event that she has coming up pretty soon. And we got another guest tonight. You guys met him 2 weeks ago, Mr. Taboo himself, Yonder. And he's going to be hanging out with us tonight, too, so we can have a great impact on future authors out there and people who are interested in writing a book. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, his book's, kind of like, about different things, adult stuff. He hasn't written a children's book yet. I'm just waiting for him to write a children's book. But we got a fun-filled show for everyone tonight, like I said. So I want to welcome aboard Miss Donna Gray Banks, and welcome back Yonder. Miss Banks, what's going on tonight? How you doing?
Well. I'm very well. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And there's the taboo man himself, Yonder.
Reggie, how you doing? Hey, Donna, how you doing?
I'm good, Yonder. I can't wait to meet you.
The fellas meet you.
Hey, I'm glad to have you guys on tonight, so we can talk about the book industry, about authors, and Donna, especially what you're doing down with your event that's coming up this weekend.
Yes, it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach.
Okay.
We just got rid of everybody in NASCAR, and now everybody's coming for the book festival and for the jazz festival. So it should be a really
okay. So you got jazz festival there too. So who?
Kiko Masui, Eric Darius, Mindy Bear, Paul Taylor. There's a lot.
Okay.
Who's down there?
Yonder, they're staying in our host hotel, so we have to sneak in the back.
Oh, that's gonna be nice. Yeah, we got to sneak it back in. Right.
Pick up one of their mics like we're a stage.
So we are having a party down in Daytona Beach this weekend.
Yeah.
So
it is
a literary party. That's
good. That's good. So, Donna, tell me about your event, your literary event, and how it got started. Talk to us.
Well, I started writing way back, probably when Yonder did. Probably before that, I don't know what our time frames are, but it's 2008. And at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for melanated people, whether you're a man or a female. And for me, I was writing erotica like Yonder. So they were sitting me in the back in the corner with a piece of brown paper.
Oh, right? In the corner, yep.
You
couldn't come to the event.
You weren't even allowed to come.
Mm-mm.
And so then I went to Houston to the National Black Book Festival there. Had a wonderful time. And of course, you go to those things and you see what people are doing and say, I could do that, or I could do that, or I could do that. And so I came back to Florida because it's like, when you're a first-time author, you can't travel to Texas. You can't travel to New York because you've just spent $7,000 getting a book done back in the day, right?
Come on, you better preach.
Yeah, And so once you spend that kind of money on just getting the book out there, the last thing you can do is fly somewhere to try to put it on display. And so I came back and I tried to duplicate what they did in Houston, and had to live in my car for a little while because I lost everything. It was just, they did it at a hotel, and I thought I could do that. But, hotels are very expensive. And so the men and women who were there with me in 2011, we don't even count that year. We kind of got to stretch it out. But they are still here, which I am so amazed at. You have people who stick with you, even though nobody sold a book that weekend. We had it was MLK weekend. We had Black people everywhere, and they walked past those tables like we were selling
Crap.
minutia.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You right?
Right. And then but fresh was given to me when it's God engineered and universally put together, you can't stop it. So that was a setback, right? But it was a setback because I didn't listen to what I was told. I wanted to do something that somebody else did and not do something what I should have done. And then once I decided that, universally, come on, Donna, there's got to be a reason why you woke up with the logo, you woke up with the saying, you woke up with, the direction, and then you decided to do something different. So in my meditation, I don't even remember where I was when I met this woman. She's a commissioner for the city of Daytona Beach. Her name is Paula R. Reed. And I told her about my vision and what I wanted to do. And 13 years later, this is our 13th year, she's still our visionary. She's still our drum major. She has helped me turn the city into a literary city. They've adopted the slogan, literacy is a legacy. Last year, we gave away 20,000 books in the neighborhood. And so when I got to the event, I thought 20,000 books, it's just not going to happen, right? But when it's engineered, you can't stop it. Got out of my car, and all the women and all the children that I spoke to, the line was around the corner before the doors even opened. So if you stick with it, if you know that it's something that you're supposed to do, it's your purpose, it's purposeful for you and for your community, then these good things happen, like a 13th year. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I know, right?
That is great. People don't understand what it takes to do an event. First of all, you ain't got no money for an event. No one wants to barter with you. No one hotels don't want to give you discount rooms. You don't have a location for it. You don't have a budget. You just trying to woof it.
Right. Well, you're trying to do what you think is engineered for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the spirit world will tell you when it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I slept in my car because I couldn't move back in my house from dealing with a hotel. So you just have to be cognizant of what's going on and the people around you and who's for you, because not everybody with you is not for you. So, and then make people believe that you believe it. If you don't believe it, they're not going to believe it. Nobody's going to believe it, right? And, there's only like 25% of the people who are really into books. So you got 75 other percent that you have to kind of convince that this is something that we should do, and make them understand that it's a privilege that we didn't have.
So true. That's before Amazon and everything else. People don't realize that we were out before there was Amazon. Because my books actually came out. I came out in 2004. There was no Amazon.
Right.
You sought out you found a book standard that gets you. There was Kariba was out and Urban Knowledge. That's called Weber was out and Urban Knowledge was out.
Oh, and I think that magazine was out. Where you could buy books at the time.
I
remember?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but there wasn't a whole lot of distribution.
It wasn't.
And we were Jet bestsellers then, Essence bestsellers.
Right.
Hey, Ms. Donna. Reggie was having some problems with his computer, so hopefully he'll come back on in the short future and all along those lines. But I did tell him I would pop in and all in that way. But one of the things I was curious about, because my grandmother was a librarian here in Durham and everything, but do you feel that there is enough support of our bookstores? Because even here in Durham, where I'm at, there was a No Bookstore, which is a very popular venue, and there are a couple of other venues, but it's one that is in the book publishing. I was just wondering, and book festival kind of side of things, your thoughts about how we are doing in terms of supporting our books and book industry.
Well, Amazon took care of that. It didn't just take care of Black bookstores; it took care of the big guys, right? I think we have one Barnes and Nobles left, and that's in Midtown in Daytona Beach. Whereas you used to have a bookstore on, I don't know, not on every other corner, but maybe smaller mom and pop where you would go in and have a cup of coffee and sit and read a book. But yeah, Amazon took care of a lot of that commerce when it came to books. And what we didn't understand is what that reflected on us. So I don't think it's that we stopped participating. I just think that big machine, when you see something glitter up in the corner, you're like, oh, let me see what that's like. And then once you're up there and you look back and what you weren't looking at is gone, right? So I think we're coming back though. I think that we've gone to the bright light in the corner. We understand that is that's the machine, right? It runs well, it'll do what you want, but there's no engineering in it.
Right? No, and I do know that there are some independent bookstores that are doing well here in Durham. Right. We have a thing called the Regulator Books that does well and all along those lines, but there are some independents. I know that even here to North Carolina, there's a connection to Zora Neale Hurston, who actually used to teach many years ago at North Carolina Central University. So I was just wondering your thoughts about Zora Neale Hurston and Zora Neale Hurston's legacy, because we're part of the Black Wall Street, and a lot of people also know that Zora Neale was part of the Renaissance. And I've argued, you mentioned it to Yonder, that I think that we're in the midst of a new Renaissance. But I was wondering.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're coming back. We're coming back.
Right.
I think everyone. Well, I'm not sure. Zora Neale has turned into not only a literary festival, but a good time weekend. And so sometimes I think we miss while we're there. But for at least 4 days, they have literary events in Eatonville. And it's very well attended. And the festival, of course, is very well attended. We were there almost every year until they tore the gym down. It's hard to have books outside in Florida just because at any given time it can rain, right? So we haven't been there as often, but we're in a renaissance right now. And I think, I live in a state where they want to ban everything, right?
Yeah, everything.
Right? Everything. So I think we as a melanated people are finally deciding that we need to teach ourselves, right? We need to pull our children back and say, look, if they're not going to teach it, we need to teach it. And I think we're doing a lot better job of it. I mean, I did with my son, but when you're in the midst of a hurricane, that means you're working 8 hours. You may be a single parent. You may be working just for pittance, right? And you're making ends meet. The last thing you're going to do is buy a book.
Right. Yeah, because
not in the program. It's not in the budget, right?
Now, along those same lines and everything, I've heard some people, and I'd love to hear Yonder's thoughts, but I've heard some people even on this network that have had the notion that the newspaper is dead and that books are dead. But I actually think that people still enjoy reading books and all along those lines. I just wanted your take, because I know a number of people are excited by the new toy in the toy shop, meaning AI and some of the other things that are out there and everything. But I do know that even my own nephews, I don't have any kids of my own, that they do still enjoy doing some reading and all along those lines. It's not always things that are assigned. So I just wanted your take on the future of the book industry and even media in general.
I just think that we have to offer it. If we don't offer it, it's just like food on a plate. If the child never has a tomato, how do they know they like it?
Right.
That is so true. And I think you're right, Donna, with the renaissance of everything. And when I first started writing years ago, I do book signings at Carl Weber Shop, which is in Madonna Mall in Baltimore. It's strictly in the hood. It's the only mall that you'll ever find that's in the middle of the hood. And it's still thriving because it's
still there. Yeah.
And I used to do book signings there. And a young lady, and when my publicist was telling me, Troy Rawlins was telling me, he said, hey, you want to come down here on the first? I was like, why the first? He was like, because they got money on the first.
Right.
I'm thinking they're not gonna buy these books on the first. No, that's how I started. I would come down there on the first, and they were at the money machine getting their money out of the Biker Market, which is inside the mall. They would meet me downstairs and buy out the books. I mean, really, Carl was sending me checks every 2 weeks when I was down. I'd come once a month. He was sending me checks. They were still buying books. That's how I started Taboo Talk. We started in the back of Carl Weber's store in Urban Knowledge, and everybody who was there was Section 8 with a check. And the girl said this is how she loses herself because she buys books. Mind you, she had 3 kids with her and she was pregnant.
Right.
And she was buying books. She
Wow.
said this is how she disappears from the neighborhood she's in because she reads books. And I was like, oh my God. I heard that years ago from my own mother. My mother used to say, wherever you want to go, pick up a book, you'll go there. And I heard this girl say this. She was 20-some years old. She said that's how she disappeared from her neighborhood. She would get them books. And mind you, this is the first of the month. She should be at the grocery store, doing laundry. She was at a bookstore listening to us talk for 2 hours, buying a book. And every time we went there, the same young lady was there with the 3 kids. And then the 4th one came out. So she was there buying books on the first of the month. She was not doing anything illegal with that money. She was coming to buy books.
Yeah, and books are definitely still important. Like I said, I still enjoy books.
Yeah,
Reggie back and everything. I do have to tease you before I bounce off and let Reggie take back over his show and all along those lines and everything. But one thing I was curious about, because you kind of alluded to it, Miss Donna, is this notion of what's going on in Florida with the book bans and a number of other things. So I was just wondering, as a Floridian, your thoughts around that, because I'm going like, why is this man trying to take on Mickey? Mickey ain't done nothing to nobody and everything, but he's trying to take on the whole Disney franchise. But I'd love to hear your thoughts around this. And it's not just in Florida, it's other parts of the nation as well, when they're trying to do these various book bans.
We do know that melanated people know how to get around stuff, right? We do know that when we were running, we took the cornmeal and made hush puppies, right? And threw them in the woods. So they made sure that they couldn't get our scent, but they got a food scent. So I think what he gave us was the ability to start thinking for ourselves to do better. And so he can talk all that mess he wants to, because we as a people have to really step up and make sure that we carry on the legacy of reading. We carry on the legacy of voting. We carry on the legacy of educating our own children when other people won't. So I just think he gave us a push. You know, sometimes when you're, when I was in Jamaica and you want to go off that, what's that falls? Ricky's Place or whatever.
I know the fall. Yeah.
What's that called? Yeah. And so everybody's standing around. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Well, what he did was push us.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I'm okay with that.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you got to have that push. Like I said, I'm going to turn it back over to Reggie and everything. I was just going to let you know, Miss Donna, and I think I might have mentioned it to Yonder, but way back in the 40s when it wasn't the thing to do, my grandmother actually founded the African-American library that is still existing in Raleigh. So Molly Houston Lee is actually the creator of the Richard B. Harrison Library. And literally that was a time, as you know, of segregation. And she literally was going around knocking on doors, collecting money in order to create that library that still exists. And actually there is an entire collection named after my grandmother that is still there at that particular location. And it is still, to your point, Yonder, located in what some people would consider the hood and all in that space. But definitely, even though she was connected to Central and other things here in Durham where I'm at, she definitely had that part of our family legacy. And it's just great to know that that is part of my own personal history. So yeah, books and libraries have definitely been an important part of my life and everything.
I mean, we all need a push. I mean, I had to be pushed to write. I don't know about you, Yonder, but I had written all my life, but never thought to go, be in it.
And I didn't really push mine out. I wrote the book, but when I didn't get help, that's when the whole thing came. I wrote the book and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send this stuff to one of these agencies and they're gonna sign me. And it didn't happen that way. Actually, that's one of the books that I have completed, but I just didn't put it out. I got the rejection letters. I got rejected because there wasn't nobody sign us back in the day.
No, are you kidding me?
I got a rejection letter, and when nobody wouldn't touch me I started reading more. It made you read more. It made you go deeper, because we know how to read. We just didn't. Once you do the book, you tired, so you want somebody to help you. But anybody help you do the book. So I started doing research. I told you I read Kwame's book, Kwame Alexander's book, Do the Right Thing, and I read Dan Porter's book. They call him the guru of self-publish. Dan Porter, I think Dan got like something crazy books, like 250 books out, and they're about different stuff. But he is the person who started doing it. Self-publishing, yeah. And then if you look at the history, people don't realize this. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad was self-published. Shades of Grey was self-published. People don't understand where we come from. They say, oh, they just throwing out a little book. No, the stuff that you think is really big, they came from this side of it.
And we had some publishing going on in the 1900s or late 1800s.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes. So being self-published has been around for a long time. But like you said, we got lazy and said, oh, I don't want to do this myself. Somebody else can do it. Yeah. So.
And once you get the book,
sorry, Reggie, we're taking over the conversation.
Well, no, that's okay. That's okay. I'm still having technical difficulties.
You know, Donna, once you get the book, you in. You're already part of it. And that's what I tell folks now. When I meet new authors now, I tell them what my publicist told me. He said, just be a writer. He said, you're the greatest writer. Just be that. Because, you know, when you first start this, you know, I want with the people to do the front cover of my book. I mean, I typed my first book up myself, edited my first book before I gave it to someone else. You know, now I have other folks do stuff like that. I mean, it was your book was your baby. It was so personal to you that everything you did yourself. That first one, you went to Library of Congress downtown. You know, now we can go online and do it. No, I was down Library of Congress. They put it in a plastic bag. They put the first one in a plastic bag, and they
put a little certificate in it. Yeah,
come on, people don't understand that. Yeah, up on the second floor. People don't understand that. That's how we did it. Now you go online, librarycongress.gov, and no, you go down there. You call the subway station right there too. Walk down there. And they put it. You go on the second floor. You do your paperwork. They put it in a plastic bag, and they take it from you. Then you're copyrighted. That second. People don't understand that.
And yeah, you know, it's generational wealth. That's the other thing they don't think about. It stays in the Library of Congress for 70 years. So for 70 years, you can make money on that just for you and your family, right?
And people don't understand that. I tell folks, it never dies. Really. Like you said, 70 years. I mean, some of us won't even live to be 70 years old.
Right.
But really, think about that. And your kids this is legacy. No matter what you write, whether you write children's book, erotic book, murder mysteries, killer books, whatever you write, they can tell their grandparent, their kids, their kids' kids, their kids' kids, kids. You're down the line now.
Right.
This is part of your legacy right here.
Right. And I keep telling all the authors, don't write a will and not put your stuff in it. You gotta have it in there. You gotta have your book.
My wife tells me that all the time because
you gotta have your Cash App in there. You gotta have your PayPal in there. All those things that nobody ever thought about 30, 40 years ago have to be part of what you leave for your family.
That question, you know, you were talking about the importance of reading books and getting involved with reading books. How do we get our young people to read books now? I'm talking about those individuals 18 and back, 18 and lower, because they have no interest in reading books. Okay, none whatsoever.
I'm deeper with you. We just have to find out what they'll read.
Right.
So, you know, I gave birth to a child who didn't read, and I thought he belonged to somebody else. I was like, who are you? Where did you come from? But I told Yonder, I said I gave him a Ninja Turtle comic book, and that was the end of it.
Done.
Now he's a collector.
And like you said, you gotta find them where they're at. I did a book signing at a bookstore in Baltimore years ago, and young lady, say 30 something ish, and man, in fact, I guess I was 30 something ish too. And I said, "Hey, young lady, you want to buy a book?" Da, da, da. She said, "No, I don't want to buy a book, but I want to thank you." I said, "You want to thank me why?" She said, "I'm a school teacher in Baltimore." She said, "They love your stuff." She said, "This is what they read."
This is what they read.
So keep writing it. She said, because I tell them to read something and they'll pick up a book like yours and they'll bring it back. She said, I don't want them to bring that to school. She said, but they read. And I appreciate it. She said, they learn and stuff. And I didn't. And she said, "So keep doing what you're doing." This is a school teacher in Baltimore.
Wow.
I was like, "Thank you." She said, "Keep doing what you're
Yeah.
doing." She said, "Because they got to read." But I'm gonna tell you what, who's picked the key to a whole lot of stuff that the younger folks are writing. One of the things that I realized with I'm a good friend of Kwame Alexander, and Kwame writes books that my son who's now 20 and my great niece who is 13 or 14, they
Mhm.
read his books. And
Yeah.
that's his market, and he runs with it with the Emmys and the what is it called, the crossover. And I know he just received the Emmy. It's a lane that certain people write in. Like I said, folks will read our stuff, but they're reading his stuff differently, and people are still reading. It's just you got to ask who's reading.
And what they want to read.
Yeah. And along
And
the same kind of lines and everything, I was just curious, Donna, your thoughts around this, and it might have been a question that Reggie was curious about as well and everything, is this notion of are we doing enough in terms of preserving our history? Because I know that even though I work at the Cultural Arts Center, that's something that we talk about a lot of times, because a lot of times people don't even know the history of the places that they are from. Like I said, when I mentioned Zora Neale Hurston and even some of the other greats that came from Florida. So I was just wondering your take on whether we're doing enough to preserve some of the legacies, because I do sometimes wonder if enough of our youngsters even know the books of, say, a Langston Hughes or a James Baldwin or people along those lines, and what can we do to preserve that history if it's not being preserved? Because even our own personal history, our family history, I don't know if it's preserved as much as we would like it to be.
It's up to us, really. I think we slacked a little bit there for about 20 years because we thought that they were being taught that in school,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And TV teaches you nothing. We're watching too much TV, I think.
I don't own a TV. I didn't raise my children with TVs, and so reading was something that they did.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we do too much time on. Listen, I did a vision board for families in the neighborhood. And when I got there and I said, "Oh, when I tell them we're going to do vision boards, they're going to run out of the room," right?
Mm-hmm.
But they all stayed. It was a family night. And I found that if I could tap into what it is they really, really want, right? So at the end of the vision board, everybody talked about what they wanted. Well, the biggest thing they wanted was a domicile, right? Things that we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And then one lady said, I'd really like to know more about, houses. And I said, I'm going to get you in touch with a real estate lady and let her show you about real estate, about what it is to be part of the real estate industry, what it takes, and then maybe you'll move forward. It's just finding out what they're interested in. One young lady wanted to be a playwright. I said, okay, listen, you write the play. I'll let you put it on at the book festival when you're ready, and we'll work on it all year. Next year we'll do it. It's the push. I mean, I can't say anything more than that it's a push. And it's a push that we need to. I mean, our parents tried their best. My parents said, listen, get a good government job and you'll be fine.
Come on, girl. I'm from Atlanta too.
And that's what I did. That's what I did. But I still was a little girl in the closet with a pull down light, writing stories about my boyfriend. What we did, right? And getting beatings for it, right? So, but because they didn't understand, but now we understand, and we need to pull our children into their strength, whatever that is.
And you're right, because my son likes sports. He wants to be a sports analyst, stuff like that. So he likes Kobe Bryant. So sports books, I always get sports books. And what he does for me now, what the kids do for birthdays and Christmas, they give me books. They say, hey, he'll find a new book. So that means he had to read some of the book to say, Daddy, you need to read this book. They'll give me books. I still have books here that I haven't read that they give me along the way. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they say, so that means that they went to a bookstore, went to Amazon to pull out a book that they think Daddy can read. And they always try to give me something different that I usually don't read. And I'm excited. I get the books. My wife give me books. I get the books and I'm all excited. I'm like a child, like the news. I still get the newspaper. Newspaper comes Wednesday and Sunday. I can't wait for Wednesday and Sunday because I don't want to read the newspaper online. I want the old-fashioned newspaper. I want to sit at my table with a cup of tea And read
And
newspapers.
children emulate what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
started reading the newspaper because my father read it every day
Mhm.
from the beginning to the end, and he did the puzzle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as far as our history is concerned, we need to show our children who Asala is. There's so many people who don't have any idea who Asala is. It's the largest Black history group of people on the planet, I think. We need to just be more involved in historical things. Like Mary McLeod Bethune. There are people who live here who have no idea who she was. What? That's up to us.
That is so true because my son actually went to Bethune for a year, and just to see the history of everything down there, I knew who Bethune was. One of the biggest legacies I contribute to living in the Washington D.C. area was we took D.C. history. They made us learn about us. I know more about Black history than most folks because D.C. Marion Barry was in charge of all that. He made sure we knew who he was. And we got a whole lot of history. Like I said, I tell folks now, my mother did staycations from the Kennedy Center to the White House. I've been everywhere. You know, all the museums, all the Smithsonian. She made us learn this stuff. And it's in your backyard. And folks have stuff like that in their backyard, won't even go see it. Folks who live in D.C. have never been to Miami, never been to the White House, don't know the Smithsonian is all.
Yeah, but yonder, that's interesting you said that because that's actually, we had a group of architects come to this particular center that I work at. And given it is a converted church, because it was a church before it became a cultural arts center, but because of the old history, and there are a number of buildings that have been renovated and converted, people sometimes associate what it used to be with what it is now and everything. So there, because it has the church facade, there are a number of people that are even here in the area, some that even live nearby, that to this day still think it's a church, even though it's been a cultural arts center. We're getting ready to come up on our 50th anniversary next year.
Woo!
So 2025, because it literally started in 1975. So 2025 will be the 50th anniversary of the Hayti Heritage Center and everything. But there are still people in our community that are not aware of all the different things that go on here. And this is used as everything from a rental facility. We'll actually have, and you might even be familiar with these young ladies, Donna, but on tomorrow, the String Queens will be here because it's a partnership with North Carolina Central University, but that is 3 African-American women that play string instrumentation. So they'll actually be performing here on tomorrow. So they are the school, the Central, North Carolina Central, which is HBCU, their music department is bringing them and then presenting them here at our particular venue. So they'll be here tomorrow night performing that kind of music, similar to the African American violin male group that is not coming to mind, Black violins and everything. So it's
nice.
a female version of what the Black violins are.
And all of that comes from somebody being pushed, right, to do the things that we know we can do. It's just being given us the platform. Look at track and field. Look at gymnastics.
Right.
Gymnastics will never be the same.
Look at golf.
I don't know what they're going to do about that. But,
Mm-hmm.
Once we are given
golf, tennis, you give us a chance, we're taking over.
The ability and the knowledge and the push.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so my generation is one. The generation behind me was still kind of afraid. We did have some fighters, right? Because we couldn't be where we are if we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of people who were. I gave an event at the Peabody Auditorium, a Black film festival, and 2 years ago. And one of the ladies there was crying as I was leaving, and I thought, did you just hate it? I thought we did a good job, right? And she said, I have never been in this building. And I've lived in Daytona Beach my entire life because of the sundown laws. Mm-hmm. It was on Beachside.
Right. Yeah.
It was in our 80s.
And there's some people that don't even know what the sundown laws are, but I know what they are. And there's actually been films around that as well. But you got people that don't even know about that. And you actually brought up an interesting point, Donna, because, and I'd love to hear your thoughts around this, but there has been for generations a conversation around whether people should be assimilationists or whether they should be more kind of like honoring our heritage and our history. Because I know that even in my father's generation, he was definitely part of the civil rights movement. There were some people that were definitely willing to, assimilate totally into the other culture and everything. And there were others that wanted to maintain some of their heritage. I mean, there have been arguments, and I'm not saying that they are correct, that
Right,
some people would say that segregation in some ways was detrimental to us and everything. If you look at some of the historical Black Wall Streets, whether that was Tulsa or Richmond or a number of other places that came out of urban renewal. And I know there was a Black Wall Street there in Florida as well. I think it was Rosewood and everything. So I just wanted your
Rosewood and the name's escaping me. It'll come back. It's in South Florida where they burned down the whole city.
That's what they do when you get something.
Florida.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so how do I feel about that? So I was raised in a melanated neighborhood. I will never change that. I went to an all-Black elementary school, and I went to an all-Black high school for a while. And then my parents decided to move on up. Now, am I mad at them about that? No, because that's where I learned what Starry Night was. That's where I learned The Grapes of Wrath. Right. That's where I learned to read Socrates. Now, could I have learned that where I was? I'm not sure, right?
You couldn't. No one had knowledge of it.
I'm just saying.
Be honest, no one had knowledge of it.
Right. Those are the things that helped me pass the SAT. When you are in an all-Black situation, I'm not sure that and then have to graduate to a non-melanated situation, and you have questions like, whose artist is this or who wrote this book, and you were never given any knowledge of it, then you can't respond to it. But what I will say is what they knew, they taught us well. Right. And they made sure we were in school. It wasn't, and I don't want to take up the time, but when we decided to move on up, I decided to just keep taking the streetcar back to my old school, right? until the truant officer decided, I had to go to this other school, right? And here are the things that where I didn't have the ability to do, which my sister and my brother did. She was a majorette. She was on the Stomp Squad. She was in the debate team. She was, and he was, all those types of things. When you go into a non-melanated situation, you don't have those opportunities. You're not a major, well, maybe now, but back then, you're not a majorette because your butt's too big. You're not a cheerleader because your butt's too big, right? You're not this because you don't fit that mold of what it is that they put you into. And for me, I had an afro as big as this screen and hoop earrings. And so I didn't last on the bus too long.
Gotcha. No, that makes a lot of sense. But and just as I tell you, I sometimes have mixed feelings about that because I did go because of an opportunity through actually civil rights leader and all in that space, or a civil rights leader, I should say. But Howard Fuller, who is very much involved in the whole charter school movement and everything, is part of how I got to Marquette University, because there was a program called EOP that helped people that were of either rural areas or poor or didn't have the greatest grades. And definitely I lived in rural North Carolina and didn't have the greatest grades. I mean, they weren't like F's, but they were more like being a C student and all in that space. But I got a chance to go to a very prestigious university in the sense of going to Marquette. And definitely I'm glad that I had that liberal arts education. So I was glad to be in that melanated environment. But my brother did attend North Carolina Central University. I've got other friends, including Reginald, that has attended that school and everything. So I do sometimes miss that, some of that connection that they have toward our community that I didn't have. So that is the kind of that pull and push and pull that goes on. So I'm glad of the education and I'm very proud of the education I got from Marquette. But I do know that there are aspects of our community that I did not get to experience because there is
because you were somewhere else,
somewhere else, and there's not a major HBCU. Yeah, there's not a major HBCU in that area.
What's your take,
Donna?
Well, I understand. I grew up, like you said, I went to elementary school, middle school, high school, all Black. As I got older, my kids grew up in those unmelanated neighborhoods, and you had to adjust. My daughter and son play soccer. I'm from basketball and football. You know that. We know that back and forth. So you get a different group of folks and you get into different places and you learn different stuff. I think that I like the melting pot. I like the mixture of everything. I mean, where I live now, I call it basically this is United Nations where I live. I have Jamaicans, I have Haitians,
Everything.
Spanish live beside us, white people live across the street, and I like it because you get to know everything, and I think we all have something good to give each other.
Right.
And I got some Trumpers down the street. Okay, that's okay. I guess some Democrats across the street here too. So I think we all need each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're good. We're better together as a whole than apart.
Mm.
And like I said, I grew up in an all black neighborhood, all black everything, but moving to, like you said, moving on up, moving to suburbia. My kids went to basically a school where they're the minority, but they learned so much. I mean, and I feel that they got a whole lot, and they have different sets of friends. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have different sets of friends back then.
No, because as you were saying that, Yonder, I was thinking to myself that the school I went to, and it was majority minority community, but the school I went to in North Carolina, which is in rural North Carolina, for my high school and everything, we literally had, and I don't know if they still do this, but at the time I was there, they literally had 3 homecoming queens. So there literally was an African American homecoming queen, a Native American, because there was an active Native American community as well, and then there was a homecoming queen that was more of the European background, and they would also, even though there's only 2 positions, you only got a salutatorian and a valedictorian, but you could tell that they were trying to at least get 2 out of the 3 in just about every class. So
and I think that's fair. I think that's fair at that time, because you need to see someone that looks like you, so that's what I could be like. Most of us aren't gonna be the first, but if we see the first, we could be the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. Most of us, I mean, there's gonna be some Martin Luther King, there's gonna be some Malcolm X's, there's gonna be some Farrakhan's, there's gonna be a whole lot of firsts. But when you see the first, like the civil rights movement, okay, Martin wasn't the biggest, boldest, or anything really. He was the most outspoken. Martin was the shortest of everybody in civil rights era, besides John Lewis.
Yeah, John Lewis and everything.
He was the smallest person in the civil rights era, and stature.
Yep.
Right.
He had the biggest mouth.
Yep.
But he was very smart too, though.
Yeah, he's very smart, but he had the biggest mouth. But think about it. You got the 6'7" athletes that you see later on. You got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and folks like that. Them jokers 6'8", 6'9", the biggest voices. I mean, Muhammad became a big voice. Someone had to be first.
No, and speaking of first and everything, I'd love to hear your thoughts, Donna. And I did see that Reggie's back and everything. So hopefully this computer he's on is working. And all in that space, y'all still got a few more minutes to go, and we can go a little bit over. But one of the things that I've been seeing a lot of first in is, because you mentioned it at the beginning with what's going on in Florida, not just the Disney thing, but one of the big races. I've said for years that I would love to go to it, and haven't been to it as of yet. But I'm not even a big race car driver. I'm not a big race car, because NASCAR is big in North Carolina and everything. Go. So that I said I want to go to NASCAR. I said I want to go to the Kentucky Derby, which is a whole other industry there in Kentucky. But I said that I want to go to a NASCAR race. But I have seen a lot, speaking of what Yonder's talking about, of us getting more engaged in a sport that we were involved in the founding of, because it's my understanding that a lot of the liquor runners, and it was a liquor running business, were African American.
They had to have a fast car. They had to have a fast car.
You had to have a fast car, no doubt about that. But I just want your take, because I saw we got Pitbull, we've got some of these athletes, including some of the basketball players that y'all were talking about, that are owning NASCAR cars. And there was a podcast that I was part of, and that young lady and her sons, I believe it is, own a NASCAR team. At least they did a few years, because it was before the pandemic. But I just wanted your take on NASCAR as an industry, and also our role, because it does seem like we're getting more engaged in the sport than we used to, except for the early days.
You have to, somebody's got to offer it to you, right?
Yeah.
So the first time someone said to me, Donna, come on to go to NASCAR, I was like, you gotta be, I'm not going there. Why would I go there? Well, let me tell you, I missed it this year, and I'm sorry I did, because it is amazing. Not only is it amazing that you have 22 cars, bumper to bumper, 200 miles an hour around the track. Do you know what kind of skill and agility that takes? That is amazing to me. And you gotta go. It's just something to see. It's like
and Mark, if you ever see the facility, tell them, Donna, that facility is
it's
bigger than any
$400
stadium
million.
you ever seen. The facility, just to see the facility. My son
No,
went to
the facilities are ridiculous because I just know because one of the events, and Reggie knows this, that I'm involved with, is called the Road to the Apollo, and we kind of model it after the Apollo show. So we literally have our own house bands, our own Kiki Shepherds and everything, and we travel around North Carolina, and the winner gets to go to the real Apollo up there in New York. But the last show we did in Reidsville, North Carolina, NASCAR was there filming because they have a new studio in Charlotte that has been like a major studio that is like rivals some of the CBS's and NBC type studios where they spend a whole lot of money in Charlotte because Charlotte is also very much a part of that NASCAR community. So they've got like some ridiculous amount of talent.
You're down there. You need to go to one of them. You need to go, really. I haven't been myself, but like I said, my son went to Bethune-Cookman just to see the facility. You like, this is crazy. I mean, it's like
and that was
the Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
Yeah, it's outside. $400 million. It takes up blocks and blocks.
It's blocks.
Wow.
It's an invitation. Somebody had to invite me. And once we're invited, once the door is open,
we taking it over.
Oh yeah, we definitely take it over.
It's a wrap.
And speaking of that, Donna, just really quickly, what is your thoughts? Because I've got the impression that in addition to being involved in the book space, and this is something we have in common, you're in the event space and event planning space and all along those lines. So why do you think that, I have a friend, he was actually just here a minute ago, but he used to joke with me that everybody is an event planner until it's time to cut the check. So that's what my friend Ray Pascal used to say, because he believes that a lot of times we don't know enough of the business side of event planning, because he used to be the rental coordinator at one of our renovated theaters, the Carolina Theater, which is an art house and everything along those lines. So he would have people that would always say, I want to bring this show here, or I want to bring this jazz act here. And then when he asked them for a budget, then that was a whole nother conversation, because they had these great master ideas, but they didn't always have the back.
Budget,
the other thing that he complains about, which I know you probably agree with as well, is his other famous quote is he talks about the brain drain, where people will want to get that advice and get that advice and that you to give them their skill sets, but don't want to pay you for the services to design the event. So I'd love to hear, as an event planner, your thoughts about whether we do enough homework on the events that we plan and whether we allow ourselves too often to have our skills drained from us in terms of that brain drain.
I don't believe that God gives you knowledge not to share. Right. That's me, right? So, and there's enough out of here for all of us. Let me tell you, there's enough money out here for all of us to make, right? And so if I can, without draining myself emotionally and physically, can help you miss some of the landmines,
right,
then I'm all about that. Not everybody is. I am very proficient at reading contracts. And I think that's where we make our mistake. Right. Yeah, you have this contract, but what's the rider? Do you even know what a rider is? So just taking people through those 1, 2, 3, those steps to make sure that whatever they're going to do, they do it, and they do it in the spirit of excellence. But I think I learned because somebody taught me. And so I take a moment to teach somebody else. Mm-hmm. And so when someone comes to me and says, Donna, I want to do this, I say, okay, let's lay it out. What's it look like? How much is it going to cost? Right. What's the budget? You know, what can we do and what can we not do? And how good are you at asking for money? I'm excellent at asking for money. I don't have any problems asking people for money, because if they have it, you know, and they have it in, especially companies, you know, they have a certain amount that they $5,000 for community service or whatever. Well, I don't want it all. I just want a piece of it. Mm-hmm. And so, it's
and I can tell that
I don't know, Yonder. It's knowledge for me, just passing it on.
You're asking for money. I look at all your sponsorship. I do events. You got more sponsors on it. I was like, man, I was adding your numbers up myself. And she got this from these people. I mean, I'm looking at it, and as you know, when you get sponsored, you have to put the names out there. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm doing minimum numbers. And she got 500 from 5. Really? So you got sponsors. You got real sponsors. You ain't got John Jenkins and Boo Boo
Right.
Jenkins, and you got real companies. You got Wawa. They don't come to the table with everybody.
No.
You got the town or the city of where you are. They don't sit down unless they sit down with somebody who they believe can give them something for their product.
Right.
Get stuff out there. Right. You have real sponsors there. So I commend you on that, Donna. You really, I see people. I'm looking at you got Wawa. I looked, I said, I'm reading the thing out there. I said, man, she got Wawa on here. Wawa don't come to town with everybody.
All that comes with reciprocity, though.
Mhm.
Trust me, those 30 people are going to come to me and say, okay, listen, we need you to co-host something. We need you to do a commercial for us. Wawa needs me to come there and bring 3 authors and sit outside the gasoline station one day, to get their melanated share, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, all of it comes with a get back. But I'm all right with that.
But when that happens, I would love to do a Wawa because folks don't understand. Those are where the real readers come from. I mean, places like that, they don't come from, even though there are going to be numerous folks here at the book thing. The real readers, you'll find it. You don't find them at these events because they're working and they got books. They got to go somewhere. They got a book in. They got 5 books in their car that they're gonna read. Right. They got some books in their trunk. Everything they do is buy books. You'll find a real reader just out.
But Donna, along those same lines, don't you find some? We're talking about the bookstores, and definitely there are bookstores that are out there. But I agree with both of you are saying, because I know that I have been into gas stations, not necessarily the ones that are near me right now, but you sometimes will find some of those gas stations that will have a book section or a magazine section or other things that they will definitely, where some of the people will have discovered their love of books. I remember, I think it was like Best Buy or something had a whole little book section. And sometimes they're like in the middle, and it might even be some of the older books, but they're not always in the places that you're expecting. So not every bookstore is designated as a bookstore, because even a lot of the grocery stores have book sections in them as well. Like I know Kroger's, I think, has it, and Harris Teeter, and a number of others where you'll go in there and you'll be like, hey, y'all got magazines and y'all got books. So I can get my can of soup and I can get my vegetables and get my bananas and also grab this particular popular author as well.
I'll tell you, that's some of the best books. The dollar store.
Man,
I'm researching now. I'm researching how to get my books.
I want to get in there.
I go in there. It's everything. I mean, really, I'm like, these are books. $1. You know how many books you can buy for somebody for $1?
I know.
You can buy all 20 of the books and give them away.
Yeah, it's not just a dollar store, because there was, I think it's called the Nearly New Shop here in Durham, but a lot of these thrift shops also have entire book sections as well, and sometimes they are both current books as well as old books, because a lot of times it's like the clothes, some of it is donated, but they also have some of the more current stuff. So I know that there are definitely some of these thrift stores you can go in there and you can find some classic books. You were talking about Socrates, but you can also find some of the authors.
The spook that sat by the door at a swap meet, I was like, and it was original. Yeah,
it was an original copy.
Yeah, original copy. Yeah. So I mean, yes, I have a lot of sponsors, but they all come with reciprocity. But
let me help you out with that. When you need to do some book cans or the Wawa stuff, because and see, people don't realize that. You know this. Some authors who don't know the thing. Oh, I want to be in front of Oprah. I want no. You got to be in front of Boo Boo Jenkins and Miss Susie before you ever touch Oprah. You have to understand this. That you politician, you got to shake hands. You got to kiss babies. You got to talk to people. Hey, read this line right here. Check this out. You like, you have to do this side. You got to get your sea legs here before you ever put anything else on.
I don't know why people don't understand that Obama was in front of the Senate in his early days, and they ate him alive. They ate him alive, right? And then 4 years later, he became the president of the United States.
And most people don't realize is that's how he paid off his college loan, his first book.
Yeah.
He was in the White House. He got that first book out. He paid his college loans off on that first book.
Yeah. Hey, Donna, and I know I'm going to turn it back over to Reggie, because I actually got to get ready to lock up this facility, and I'll lock y'all up.
You got to go.
You're still doing the conversation and everything, but we still got time, because as Reggie knows, I can stick around even while I'm here and all along those lines. But my question to you, Donna, is with your book festival that you're doing and everything, who is on your wish list that you don't have, that you are hoping that somebody will be able to put you in touch with, that if you had your dream person that you haven't had yet, and maybe even a dream sponsor. So who's your dream author and who is your dream sponsor that you haven't had a chance to reach out to? Because the Pod TV, which Reggie is all part of now, and this is where this show is on, is a global network. So there might even be somebody watching that might be able to put the hands on that person that you want and everything. So who is your dream sponsor and or your dream author that you haven't had as of yet?
I would like to be sponsored by the NBA, the NFL.
Gotcha.
Because, you know, at one point they were all nonprofits, right? So IRS decided that was not what they should be. and they all have now nonprofit arms, right?
Yes, they
And
do.
I think that if, no shade to anybody, but I do believe that we could do a better job of educating those young men, those young women, in the power of speaking and the power of reading and the power of understanding and oratorship. And so I think if we were with them on that, when you get off the floor or off the field, then we put a book in your hand.
And as you fly to your next location, you have books in your backpack, in your bag, and everything. Because you're flying. Let me see. It's 82 games a year in basketball, so you flying most of the time.
Right. So I would love that. The person that I would love the most, I guess Kwame would be number one, because he's the man. I don't know. I'm grateful for anyone who wants to be with me. So I don't want to say it's got to be that person.
Well, Don, I'm gonna name one for you. We want them all urgent. Look, we want them all. We want Carl Weber.
Right.
We want them all. We want Quan. We want Treasure Blue. We want J.M. Benjamin.
Right.
Let's name them. We want Jessica Taylor. Come on, let's name them. We know them. Let's name them. Come on down here. Come on home.
Yeah. I mean, Victoria Christopher Murray is
coming. Oh yeah. Oh, she's dynamite.
She's on the New York bestseller list. So
she's
dynamite.
She's dynamite.
Amazing.
Bring Zane back. I want to see Zane.
She didn't have to come to Daytona.
So would you take Sister Soldier? So Sister Soldier's still out there.
I would take Sister Soldier. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean,
J.M. Benjamin, Treasure Blue. It's a whole. There's a dream list for me because I'm a reader. We're readers, so it's folks that we want to see. Can we read their books?
Right. So, I love Brian W. Smith. He's got 30 books out. You know.
Yeah. Look,
he's been to the book festival.
Give me Nora Roberts.
Nora Roberts. Okay, I'll take it. Right.
So, I mean,
I'm sorry, Mark. I can't tell you one.
It sounds like you got a long list, and hopefully folks are listening and watching and everything. Is Michelle on that list, or has she already been to the
Becoming
festival?
Michelle Obama would just be
Michelle Obama. Give me Barack. Come on.
Here's the thing. I would have to change that whole venue, though, because I'd have to get something way bigger. I would love Michelle to come.
Give us Michelle, give us Barack.
But you know what? I'm so grateful for who does come.
I'm grateful to come myself. I've read about your event for years. And as I see my good friend Keith Kareem Williams, and I live in Florida. I see him last year. I said, he was on a plane. He said, on my way to Daytona. I said, the next year, I'm getting it. And that's what I did this year.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for whoever decides to be a part of Fresh, which is fiction, romance, erotica, spiritual, health, and happiness that each can stand whatever you want. So.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, guys, I hate I couldn't hang in there with you tonight. My computers were acting up tonight. My internet was acting up.
And Reggie, we want to see you down at one of these years.
I'll be down there next year.
Yes, come.
I'll be down there next year.
Do Urban Sentinel live, bring the magazine.
Yeah. We can give you your own room and you can do interviews and
I wish I had known about it this year. I would have been down there this year. It would have been a good opportunity for me to do some interviews. get some articles together and things of that nature. But I have myself and a writer down there. We'll be down there next year.
Okay. It's the last weekend of February. What are the dates? Let me give them to you right now. In 2020.
Getting those dates. Hey, Reggie, are we going down to Daytona to the race next year? I know that they had the race earlier.
You guys come on next year. I'll meet y'all at Daytona. I'll come with you guys. I come to race with you guys.
Absolutely. So the race, let's see, we are the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd. The race is the 16th.
Okay.
So make a whole weekend up, make a whole 2 weeks
I'll
up.
come down with you guys, Reggie. I come out and do Daytona, then we do going to and do the film because she has a film festival on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do it all. But look, Donna, when you gonna take the show? When you gonna take the show on the road?
Oof.
When you gonna bring it to DC? Chocolate City. Well, it used to be Chocolate City. It's more like Vanilla City now.
You know, I used to live at the Boston Metro stop. On Gillette Road. Yeah, I was there 20 years. So DC is my second home. I would love to bring it on the road. You know, it's a conversation.
Hey, let's talk about it. I think
DC, it's a conversation for sure.
I think DC would be a good venue for you.
So do I. I mean, you know, because it's kind of hard knock life down here in Florida. But it's a hard knock life that was given to me, so I'm willing to take it by the hand.
I'm
ready to travel with it.
Just really quickly, because we have one coming up on in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Actually, the director was just here. That is her. I think it is her second year of doing it, even though we're about to celebrate 30 years of our Hayti Heritage Film Festival. So it's this year the theme is homecoming and everything. But I was just wondering, what is the theme of your film festival and what kind of films are shown? Because we have a variety of film types that go on. We've even done some in the past that were Afrofuturistic, and we've definitely had some that are around different cultures, including, I think there might be one this year around either the Geechee or one of the Cajun cultures or something like that. But I was just wondering, what kind of films are y'all showing, and is the film festival at the same time as the book festival, or is it a separate event and everything? But
it happens all in the 3 days, right? So last year, since we were at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, we did Black Sci-Fi, which was amazing. 2 young men out of Atlanta, Mr. Gant and Mr. Mikulski. And they came and did Return. If you've never seen the movie, please, you can download it off of YouTube. Amazing. Then we had Booker T. Madison. Well, now he's way out of our league, but he was here for 3 years straight. And he has amazing movies. Then we had Travis Hunter, who did, he's from Atlanta also. He was here the year before that. And this year, it's Sandenise Myers, who is the niece of Heavy D. So she's been in the industry for a long time. She did the music video for Guess Who I Saw Today by the new young lady in jazz. She just won an Emmy. Her name is escaping me. And her feature film is called Cross Your Heart. And it is amazing. So we don't feature certain films. We feature Black filmmakers, and we have not had to reach far. They've come to us. So
and that's really what the Hayti Heritage Film Festival is, because the Hayti Heritage Center is a African American cultural arts center. So definitely we've had a number of folks. We did a preview about a month and a half ago of Bass Reeves, because they showed there is a film version and then there is the series. So we actually showed one of the series episodes and had some of the filmmakers, including the woman, because she's from here in Durham, that played the wife of Bass Reeves and everything. So she was actually here. So we've done a number of things along those lines. And the gentleman that you saw in the background when we first started the show and everything, he actually was a past director of this center and now works with North Carolina State and with some of the state offices in North Carolina. But he had a whole series that was around sci-fi and around Afrofuturism. So
I know. I mean, I think we need to know that Star Trek is one thing, but just like everything else, they can't leave us behind. We're going.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So look, we're gonna have to plan to get up into the DC area, bring it
Yeah.
to fruition in the DC area. But Donna,
You guys can invite Yonder and I to DC to the book festival, right,
Yes.
Yonder? We
Yeah.
go.
we got to get
As long
up
as you don't stick us in the corner in the dark because we right.
And
No,
no. Reggie
Put y'all
has
out there
been
in
my
front. Put y'all at the front
look,
door.
Donna. Reggie has been my cheerleader for 20 years.
Oh,
Reggie
good.
put me on this. He's the first person to ever put me on the front page of his newspaper, knowing what I write.
Mhm.
Put picture of me, book, the website on the front page of his newspaper.
Yeah, I will just say this and I'll leave it alone, that it's much easier for a man to write erotica than for a woman to write erotica, so.
Like I was telling Yonder, there was a woman that I interviewed on, there's a show that I do outside of this called the Online Dinner Party, and I actually interviewed her yesterday in a special edition version, because I also do a show called The Radio Show with Mark Lee. But Shauna Michael, I think that's the full name and everything, is an erotic writer out of Atlanta, and apparently she's doing quite well. Huh?
I'd love to meet her because we're going to do an erotic book festival for sure.
Okay, because she's been writing for a while. As she said, she was concerned that her mother was going to disown her, but her mother has actually been her biggest cheerleader and all along those lines. So she is definitely doing well with her books and everything. She has one called Swipe, which is about just what it sounds like. So it's about a online relationship and all in that space. So yeah, Shauna is definitely there. And ironically, my cousin, who is a GBI officer down there in Atlanta, is the one that turned me on to her, because when she is not writing erotica, she's a banker. So I think that if I remember correctly, she is actually my cousin's banker, because it's actually one of those major bank firms there in the Atlanta area. But yeah, she's written the book, and like
they do. People look at they kind of, when they do finally see me, they say, "You wrote this?" So yeah, I did. So I would love to do an erotic book festival. What about you, Yonder? You ready?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm with you. I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Okay, my friends, it's been great. Mark, thank you for pinch hitting for me tonight since I had all this internet problems tonight. Appreciate you, Donna. Appreciate you, Yonder, for coming on and being a part of it. So we got to move forward into the future and do some things together. Got to look forward to 2025. Or maybe even before 2025 gets here, but we definitely got to do something together. So, to my listeners and my viewers, this has been Urban Sentinel Live tonight on Tuesday night. That's how we do it on Tuesday night. So we've been talking about what's going on in the literary world, and if you want to reach out to either one of my guests. If you contact me, or either you can contact Yonder and Donna on their emails. Donna, what's your email again?
Freshbookfestivals with an S at gmail.com.
And Yonder, what's your email again?
YonderTaboo@gmail.com. And please make sure you guys come to Daytona this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Come down there. We're going to be down there. It's more than 40 authors, movie makers. We're just gonna have a great time. All sorts of readers. You're doing something with the school system. It's gonna be a great time. A jazz festival. It's gonna be a great time. Donna, tell me the location, Donna.
The film festival is at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. The book festival is at the Cherry Center in the middle of Midtown.
Okay.
Donna, just really quickly, what is the furthest that somebody has come from as we're heading out the door and everything for this book festival? And for
Reginald's cousin, Janice S.F. Kearney from Arkansas.
All right.
She's very well renowned. She was the diarist for William Jefferson Clinton, the only melanated diarist on record.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and but we bring in from people from overseas.
United Kingdom.
Yeah,
right?
the UK. Yeah, we internet them in every year. Yeah. Then the gentleman who's head of the National Black Book Festival in the UK will be there. His name is David Simon. He will be joining us. So yeah, we're international as of last year. So yeah. Yay!
I'm so excited. I can't wait. You guys have to be there. Fresh Book Festival this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Film Festival, Book Festival, Daytona Beach, and the beautiful city of, how do you say it, Donna? You always say it?
In the beautiful city of Daytona Beach.
Beautiful city of Daytona. I love how you say that.
Is there a way that people can attend the festival if they are not in your city this time? Like I said, me and Reggie will try to be there next year, but is there an online version that people can register or still go to if they?
As soon as this festival is over, they can go to www.freshbookfestivals.net and sign up for next year. I'll put that in the chat.
Okay.
And she does it for authors. She does an early bird special. You know how we always look for discounts. They do an early bird special. I didn't catch it this year myself. Early bird special, keep your money tight.
That's right. So,
Okay, everyone. Well, to my listeners and viewers, you got your instructions for the weekend. Head to Daytona Beach if you're in the area.
yes, please.
Hey, you want to enjoy yourself. You're going to get to hear some jazz music, meet some dynamic authors, and hey, you might get motivated to come do your own book and be in DC or either Daytona. Okay, so we're gonna make it happen in DC. Definitely gonna do that. You know, I think.
Yeah, don't think about it. Write about it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. So look, everyone, continue on having a safe week. We've had a good time here tonight. Again, I appreciate my guests for being on tonight. Mark, appreciate you for pinching for me since I was in and out. And hey, like I said, be safe this week. You know, be careful out there. You know, watch your back and come back again next Tuesday night, same place, same time on POD TV at 8 o'clock for the Urban Sentinel live show. And you can also catch us on YouTube. The show airs live on YouTube, Roku, Amazon, you name it. Hey, we there, okay? So, you know, come and join us. Yeah, have a good time. Thank you. Take care. Peace.
Good night,
Be good. Good night.
Good night.
See you soon, y'all.